Hi everyone, and welcome back to ASMR Diary. So today we are trying out a different mic and a different view. I hope that it all works out good. This is my second time filming with this mic and this position, and I did have to throw out my last videos because the audio was terrible. I am still learning how to navigate using a Blue Yeti mic, so we're figuring it out as we go. Last time, unfortunately, I left my heater on because it is so cold, and that was basically the only sound that this mic was picking up, unfortunately. So yeah, we are also missing my pink onesie, but that's okay because I have my strawberry robe, which is also equally as cute, if not cuter. Wait, there we go. So yeah, I am praying that the audio works good for this. I am also gonna try soft-spoken whispery-ish. I want my tones to be somewhere in the middle. I feel like I'm not really whispering. Maybe this is considered whispering, and that's what I've been doing all along. But I feel like I wanna do a mix between, or an in-between of whispering and soft-spoken speaking. So yeah, I'm gonna go check my audio real quick just to make sure everything is okay, because guys, for some reason it is taking me so long to adjust to this Blue Yeti mic, which is why I was using my Rode wireless mic before, because this is just so simple and convenient and easy. But the Blue Yeti mic, you kind of have to plug it into your computer to make sure it's working, and then it's also got all these buttons and stuff, and it's a lot. So I'm gonna go check my audio, and then when I come back, hopefully it's good, we can get right into the next chapter. Oh my god, I am so tired today. You guys, I am literally reading these chapters for the second time, but I am I really want to get out a video every day, so it's gonna happen. Anyways, chapter 12, Queequeg's coffin. Captain Ahab had refused to stop the ship, so poor Queequeg was sent down below to hunt the leaks. It would have been a difficult job with the ship at anchor, but with the Pequod still rising and falling in the South China Sea, the job was highly dangerous. After 2 full days of searching, he emerged from the smelly, dark depths of the hold with his report. He had mended 6 barrels, and the leaks had all been stopped. He also returned with a dreadful cold from working in the chill damp of the hold. It quickly turned into a raging fever. Queequeg took to his hammock, and there he lay, wheezing and sneezing day after day. He was wasting away with the fever. The rest of the crew was sure he would die. One morning, his head briefly cleared, and he made a last request. "I saw in Nantucket," he said weakly, "how dead whalers are buried. Not in regular coffins, but in small wooden canoes. It is my last wish that I am laid to rest in just such a canoe. The carpenter will have seen these canoes before. Ask him to make me one as a last kindness to me." Mr. Abel knew well how whalers were buried. He himself had made several canoes for the purpose. He immediately promised to build one for Queequeg. While Queequeg was drifting between life and death, Mr. Abel took his measurements with great accuracy. It took the carpenter 2 days to build the canoe-shaped coffin, which was to carry Queequeg to the next world. When the last nail was driven home and the lid duly fitted, he carried it down to the ship's hold to await its duty. Queequeg, still drifting in and out of his fever, demanded that the canoe coffin should be brought to his cabin immediately. He took a great interest when it arrived, calling for a harpoon to be laid inside it, as well as a paddle. Queequeg also had some crackers and a bottle of water put aboard his deathly vessel to satisfy him on the great journey that he was sure he would be making very soon. Finally, he was asked to be laid in the canoe to try it for size and for comfort. 4 men struggled to lift him in. The carpenter had done a good job because the canoe fit him perfectly. Now, lying in the coffin, Queequeg crossed his arms over his chest and made his final request. He wanted the coffin lid placed over him. This was done, and for the next few moments all was silence. Everyone thought he had died and gone to heaven already. But at last, a voice was heard from inside the canoe. "It seems to fit me very well," he said. The men removed the lid, and Queequeg asked to be laid in his hammock again, to await his last moments on earth. "Poor Queequeg," said Daggoo. "Surely he has ended his roving days. The whales are safe from his powerful arm now." "I am ready to go to my maker," whispered Queequeg, so weakly the words could hardly be heard. Now the fever-ridden whaler closed his eyes and said no more. It was as if he had entered a dream. We all expected that he had spoken his last. We retired to our own hammocks to sleep, but Queequeg wasn't finished. He had made every preparation for leaving the world, and he was very pleased with the fit of his coffin. But that night he suddenly rallied. By dawn, it was clear that there was no need for the carpenter's canoe coffin. "I can't go yet," were Queequeg's first words as he opened his eyes. "I can't die because I have just remembered I have things left undone. So I have changed my mind about dying." A puzzled Daggoo asked whether he had power over when he should or should not die. "Most certainly," answered Queequeg without hesitation. In the next few days, Queequeg recovered completely and announced that he was fit enough to fight Moby Dick. His canoe coffin wasn't wasted, though. He used it as a sea chest, emptying into it the contents of his canvas bag. Later, he spent many hours carving the lid with wonderful images of his own tattoos. Chapter 13. The Great Harpoon. At last, the Pequod reached the Pacific Ocean itself and the most famous Japanese whaling grounds. If the captain of the Samuel Enderby was to be believed, this was where he had lost his arm. Captain Ahab stood on his deck, swiveling on his new whalebone leg and examining the horizon. He breathed in deeply and tasted the salt on the wind. Was that Moby Dick he smelt? His blood quickened as he walked the length of the ship to pay Mr. Perth the blacksmith a visit. Mr. Perth was already surrounded by several members of the crew, waiting for him to repair various pieces of equipment, harpoons, buckets, knives, and other pieces of metalwork on the ship. They all stood aside as Ahab approached. "Mr. Perth," he said, "I have a job for you. I want you to make me a harpoon, one so strong and heavy that 10 giants couldn't break it. something that will stick in a whale's rockiest bone if necessary, and make its shaft from 12 rods of iron, and twist them together as one. Clear your forge. I want you to begin the work now. So when Queequeg and Daggoo and Tashtigo pumped the air beneath the forge fire, the blacksmith went to work. When the 12 rods were made, Ahab tested each one for strength and flexibility. He was happy with 11 of them, but told Perth to work on the 12th a little longer. When the 12th rod was done, Ahab told Perth to stand aside while he himself welded all 12 rods together. It took a great deal of hammering and firing, but at last the 12 became one. Then Mr. Perth took the final object from the captain. While it was still red hot, he plunged it into a barrel of cold water. Scalding steam shot up and the water bubbled and hissed violently. All who watched took a step back except the captain. Now we must make the barbs for the harpoon, he said. With that, Captain Ahab handed Perth a pile of old razors. I have used these well. Now sharpen them again and weld them to the harpoon. They are made of the finest steel. Make them as sharp as needles. I have no need of razors anymore. I shall not shave again until Moby Dick is mine. Mr. Perth quickly put the razors into the fire and shaped them like arrows. When they had cooled, he welded them to the shaft. The blacksmith was about to dip the finished object into his barrel of water when Ahab cried out again. No, water is too ordinary to cool this precious barbs. He turned to Queequeg, Daggoo, and Tashtigo. Give me your right hands, he said, and let me prick each one of you. I want blood enough to cool my implement of death. The 3 men reluctantly allowed their hands to be pricked by the captain's new razor-sharp barbs. The blood flowed just enough to cool them. The job was done. Captain Ahab then chose an especially thick wooden pole to attach the harpoon to, and then called for a new coil of rope to be attached to it. A rope of 200 feet was a long one on a whaler's harpoon, but Ahab wanted at least 300 feet. At last, all was done. Captain Ahab picked up his weapon and stomped off down the deck, the sound of his whalebone leg and the harpoon pole ringing out on every plank. Okay, guys. So I'm going to stop there for tonight. Thank you so much for listening, and I would really appreciate it if you leave your feedback in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about this mic, and let me know how you feel about my tone of voice. Heck, let me know if you're even listening for this story or if you're just listening for some calming noise. And if you've been following along so far, what are your thoughts on where we are in the story so far? My thoughts is that Ahab would have hated to see a therapist coming in our day and age, because that man needs some serious help. Anyways, with all that being said, have a good night or a good day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!